DreamWorks is back, and they're leaving every other animation studio in the dust. From the jaw-dropping visuals of The Wild Robot to Puss in Boots: The Last Wish redefining animated sequels, this comeback is no accident. We're gonna talk about how they're doing it and why it's absolutely crucial to the entire animation industry. So stick around for that, and while you're at it, give the video a like. It's no secret, DreamWorks has been struggling for a while. For a studio known for some of the best animated franchises ever, it's a crime that they've gone from that to this in recent years. Bad is clearly an understatement for whatever the hell they've been going through over there. But in the past 2 years, they've released two of the best animated movies of the 2020s, and The Wild Robot could even go on to become one of the best animated movies of the century. On top of that, they've recently released the trailer for Dogman, which looks absolutely incredible. But let's take a step back and look at where this all started, which is in the most unlikely of places. See, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish was a sequel to a decade-old spin-off. It would have been super easy for this movie to fall into mediocrity or feel like a desperate cash grab by the studio. Instead, it shocked literally everyone, us normal people and critics alike, increasing the box office numbers over time as word of mouth spread of its quality. The bold storytelling, mature themes, and absolutely gorgeous visual style, inspired by modern painterly animation aesthetics, blew me personally out of the water. What made this movie stand out wasn't just the gorgeous animation, but its nuanced approach to character development and introspection. Puss is no longer just a lovable cat. He's a hero confronting his mortality and legacy. It's a more grounded and emotionally rich character arc that highlighted DreamWorks' willingness to evolve their storytelling techniques beyond mere spectacle. With incredible scenes like Puss having a very realistic panic attack, you can tell that the team really cared about this. Not only that, the edgier and more self-aware tone of the movie sets itself apart from most DreamWorks movies. Oh, and fun fact, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly was cited as a particular influence on the film's plot, due in part to how these films managed to balance between different tones, which is super cool. But why was this sequel to a spin-off so masterfully done? There's a few factors, but let's touch on the incredible animation. The frenetic, exaggerated animation style was inspired by Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, of course. And a big part of that inspiration came from the fact that originally, the director of Into the Spider-Verse, Bob Persichetti, was announced to be the director of The Last Wish in 2019. It wasn't until a whole 2 years later, in 2021, that there was a directorial change to Joel Crawford. But the influence had already cemented itself. They didn't just copy Into the Spider-Verse though. They made the animation style their own by going for a more fairy tale look, reminiscent of an oil painting kind of. And that takes us to Joel Crawford, the director that was the main reason this movie did so well. He was incredibly intentional about all decisions within the movie. This wasn't some legacy director that was doing this project on a whim. Joel had only directed The Croods: A New Age, which, if that doesn't sound familiar, yeah, it didn't for me either. But it's the sequel of the 2013 movie The Croods, and apparently it was a surprisingly great sequel among fans of the franchise. Clearly, Joel Crawford was doing something right already, and given the chance at an even bigger opportunity with The Last Wish, he took it so much more seriously than anyone could have expected. Joel didn't just reinvigorate a familiar character, he also showed DreamWorks' adaptability and willingness to innovate, which we hadn't seen in a long time. But was this just gonna be a speck of brilliance in their tapestry of mediocrity in the past 10 years? That's exactly what people feared until The Wild Robot came out. A movie based on a children's picture book, there was a cautious excitement leading up to the release. The mostly silent trailer had gotten amazing feedback, but you can never really know how good a movie's gonna be based on the trailer. This was also going to be one of the few non-sequels DreamWorks had released in the past 5 years, and the rest hadn't exactly done well. So when this released and people actually went to watch it, everyone was shocked. $300 million plus at the box office and insane reviews from basically everyone watching. How did they do it? Well, first off, it's written and directed by Chris Sanders, responsible for Lilo and Stitch and How to Train Your Dragon, so already a great start. The story's beautiful already, given the book was a bestseller. It's about a robot that wakes up on a remote island and learns to survive by befriending the animals and understanding their way of life. It blends adventure with heartfelt themes about community, motherhood, and identity, and so much more, all packaged in such a beautifully emotional tale. To the point that I've watched the movie twice, and I've cried twice. So like that's gotta mean something. The Wild Robot further shows DreamWorks' commitment to character-driven storytelling. By focusing on Roz's journey of self-discovery and her connections with a diverse cast of animals, the film moves away from formulaic hero tropes that we're so used to seeing, delving deeper into character relationships and the emotional stakes of survival. It's a really, really simple story, but so effective. DreamWorks' approach here underscores their new ethos, and in a way brings it back to its original ethos, creating films that can enchant children while also resonating with adult audiences through complex themes and relatable struggles. But that's not all. The innovative animation is once again a key reason this movie stands out from not just the rest of DreamWorks movies, but the entire animation industry as well. So this is really cool. Apparently Sanders took inspiration from classic Disney animated movies and the works of Hayao Miyazaki, resulting in a stylized CG visual style that he described as a Monet painting in a Miyazaki forest. Finally, we're ditching the photorealism. My god. He considered Bambi and My Name is Totoro as the biggest influences on his visuals. While the characters were made up of CGI geometrical shapes, their surfaces have a hand-painted look. This painterly style philosophy was carried on to every visual element in the film, including the sky and environments.
We can paint things like a painter would. It's impressionistic, but it's more real.
It's also stunning how they juxtapose Roz's mechanical form against the lush, organic world of the island. And as the movie goes on, Roz adapts an even wilder look to signify her evolving relationship with the animals and the world around her. Her look as a moss-covered robot caretaker even feeling more than a little inspired by Miyazaki's Castle in the Sky. Also, gotta give a major shout out to the casting director, Christy Soper. She did a crazy job assembling the voice acting team, from Lupita Nyong'o to Pedro Pascal, passing through Mark Hamill and Bill Nighy. Every voice actor pours their soul into this, and it comes together perfectly in my opinion.
Easy. I can teach him the way my mom taught me. Swim!
So if Puss in Boots signaled a return to form for the studio, The Wild Robot is DreamWorks' affirmation that their renaissance is no fluke. Another true labor of love. But let's be honest, two great movies doesn't necessarily mean a studio's truly heading in a game-changing direction. But then, Dogman came out of nowhere. Looking to 2025, DreamWorks already has a potential ace project up its sleeve. Dogman is based on Dav Pilkey's popular series, and if its trailer is any indication, it continues the studio's focus on heart, humor, and stylistic boldness. Like, look at this. It screams originality and uniqueness, kind of giving me Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle vibes and also Mitchell's vs. the Machines vibe. Clearly, they're trying to make sure their resurgence of quality movies isn't just a momentary spark, but an actually sustained revival. The Wild Robot and Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is a labor of love by every creative involved. And that is exactly what Dogman looks like it will be too. Simply from the trailer alone, you can tell there's so much attention to detail in being faithful to the adaptation, while also elevating it into something fans will love. From someone that was never really a big fan of Captain Underpants, I didn't really know what this was. And it even took me by surprise in how clean and fun it looked. Personally though, for me it seems a tad too childish, but that doesn't mean it can't be an amazing movie. But why does any of this matter? Even if DreamWorks does hit their stride, who cares? You should, and I'm gonna tell you why. See, animation is in an awesome period of growth and redefinition over the past 5 years, and DreamWorks' resurgence contributes to elevating the medium as a serious art form capable of exploring complex and layered themes. While Disney and Pixar have been basically shitting the bed, let's be honest, leaning heavily on sequels and reboots in recent years, DreamWorks' bold choices show that there is still so much more room for new ideas and risky adaptations. We need these sorts of projects to continue to push the medium forward and just to continue to excite audiences in general, rather than just getting continuous sequels and shitty quality movies. Wish. That's why this rebirth is so important for the industry. Clearly, the fervor surrounding The Last Wish and The Wild Robot suggests DreamWorks has really struck a nerve by being willing to break old molds and continue to experiment. There's a hunger in audiences for animated stories that go beyond simple entertainment. We've been knowing that, and DreamWorks is clearly trying to take advantage of this and lead the charge. I would personally still love to see some even more mature themes and stories come out in the next few years, but I'm confident we'll see that at some point. Anyway, that's all from me. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.